Hey everyone, this is Susie Roos from Self Care Essentials and Evicting Cancer, and your host for Wholehearted Aging Tips. Today, I want to take a few minutes to clear up a myth about sunshine. In the last decades, much of the medical profession, especially dermatologists, have kind of villainized sunshine. We've been told to avoid it and to slather on sunscreen and hats and protective clothing before we or our children dare venture out into its dangerous presence. This is a massive distortion of the truth. If it were the truth, how did humanity possibly survive these millennia without modern shelter and sunscreens and protective clothing? The truth is, we need sunlight for proper functioning in our bodies, including hormonal and circadian rhythms. Yes, of course, the sun exposure dose matters and it can change from therapeutic to toxic. So while we don't want to burn and spend endless hours sunbathing or swimming in the sun, avoiding it altogether or mostly is not healthy. A study from the Journal of Internal Medicine correlated the health of 30,000 Swedish women with the risk of death over a 20-year period. And what the researchers found was that the risk of death from all causes literally doubled for the Swedish women who tended to avoid the sun compared to women who got the most sun. In fact, the more sun exposure a woman got on a regular basis, we're not talking about being out there and burning up, but regular sun exposure, those women had the lowest risk of death during the 2 decade long study, even when they adjusted data to look at income levels, to look at obesity, to look at smoking and exercise. So, according to this study, completely avoiding the sun might increase the risk of premature mortality or death as much as if these women smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. In another more recent study, researchers presented, I guess, what they would call tentative evidence showing that red and near infrared light have demonstrated evidence of potential clinical benefits. A lot of us are hearing about red light therapy, infrared therapy. What's the relationship to the sun? Well, um, sunlight contains both red and near infrared light. The fancy term for any kind of treatment with this light is called photobiomodulation. And again, we see red light therapy showing up all over the place. So let's look at some of the actual benefits of sunlight exposure. One of the big ones is better sleep. Our eyes need light to set the body's internal clock. Early morning sunlight seems to help people sleep better at night. And if we don't get it during the day, we often have trouble with our melatonin production in the evening. So getting morning sunlight is really, really a good cue to keep our bodies on task. Another thing is that exposure to sunlight is thought to increase the brain's release of a hormone called serotonin. Many of you have heard about serotonin. It's sort of known as the happy molecule. It boosts the mood and helps a person feel calm and focused. It's a hormone, and it is produced when sunlight not only hits our skin, but actually hits the retina of the eyes. So here's the other little tip is leave your sunglasses off for a short while as well. Let that light hit your retinas. The sun's rays also stimulate the skin to make beta endorphins, which are produced to help regulate or decrease stress. So you take a walk in the sunshine without your sunscreen and without your sunglasses for 20, 30 minutes. and you get the benefit of the sun, you get the benefits of exercise, you get the benefits of better mood and better hormone regulation. That's a lot, right? Um, Another thing that the sunshine does, it helps your body produce vitamin D, which in turn contributes to healthy bones and also reduces the risks of bone related diseases like osteoporosis. Um, it also improves immunity. Some of us have been reading a lot during this last year when people have been looking at ways to boost immunity and lower exposure or problems from viruses. Um, Vitamin D has been featured a lot as making a big difference in the severity of viral infections and complications because vitamin D helps promote immunity. Our T cells get much more active. And I think you all know this, but in case not, it's sunlight that helps our body create vitamin D in the cells of our skin. So here are a couple things though you may not have heard about with sunshine. Did you know that morning light actually seems to help people keep their weight in check? You need, again, the same 20 to 30 minutes of sunlight between 8 a.m. and say noon to make a difference. But the earlier you get that sunlight exposure, the better it seems to work. Scientists are thinking that something in the sun's rays literally shrinks fat cells below the skin surface. So it obviously is not a magic bullet, but hey, when you take all these different tips and put them together, you can make your weight management goals and efforts, more effective. Another thing that the sun does, which really, again, thanks to the vitamin D, is it improves your gut health. This was kind of interesting for me to learn that when you have an adequate vitamin D, thank you, sunshine, we have a better diversity in the microbiome in our gut, which leads to much greater gut health, which leads to much greater overall health, right? And a third one that you may not have heard about is something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas or a molecule in the body that helps dilate blood vessels. So it helps heart health and it helps lower blood pressure. And when skin is exposed to sunlight, small amounts of nitric oxide are transferred into circulation in our body. So it's really helping lower the risk of high blood pressure. And so if you choose to give yourself that 20 to 30 minutes a day, preferably in the morning, of sunlight every day without having any sunscreen or protection, let me give you the names or the types of, we'll say 5 foods today that actually help provide sun protection from the inside out, since you're not immediately putting sunscreen from the outside in. And the first one I want to mention is strawberries. They possess a really high antioxidant capacity, as well as anthocyanin and vitamin contents, which really help protect the skin cells against UVA induced damage. Wild caught salmon and other healthy sources of omega-3s also help boost skin immunity to sunlight. What makes the salmon orange and what makes carrots orange is lycopene. So that shields against UVA light skin reddening. It's like protection. This was found in the Journal of Nutrition article. And the lycopene also can be found in watermelon. Who doesn't like to eat watermelon in the summer, right? It's got a lot of lycopene and vitamin C, both which help protect against UVA and UVB rays that can cause damage to the skin. Carrots, of course, that's the beta carotene, vitamin C, and the lycopenes, again, They all are a defense against dangerous effects of sun exposure. And the last one I want to mention is green tea. Green tea comes up a lot. You'll hear me talk about it. One of its ingredients, EGCG, has so many positive health effects. One of them helping protect against UVA radiation. And it also is anti-cancer. So we're doing a lot of good for our bodies. So bottom line, why don't you consider working up to 20 minutes of sunlight exposure each day before you apply any sunscreen and sunglasses. At another time, we'll take a look at effective sunscreens versus all the toxic ones out there on the market, because that's another big safety and well aging concept. But it's best to not get your non sunscreen rays when the sun is at its strongest, right? That's why morning sun, or if you miss the morning sun, the later afternoon sun will be a little more gentle as well. And of course, depending on your skin coloring and type, it may take you a week or two or three to get to 20 minutes of safe sun exposure. So hopefully now you know or have confirmed that sun is a free resource able to support better aging, better moods, and try this again, better vitamin D levels, which in turn supports dozens of other functions in the body, including lowering cancer and COVID risks. So stay tuned for more free and implementable whole aging tips. But for now, this is it. I bid you a beautiful evening. Bye for now.